everyone. Welcome to episode 11 of the Force Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Josiah Ward, and with me today is Mr. Taco Rob, who's been away for a while now. How you been?
Just eating tacos.
And also we got Daniel, who is joining us via Skype. What's up, man?
What's happening?
Alright, so this week we've got a whole episode of Sports Talk. Next week is Star Wars Celebration, so it'll be a huge week for Star Wars. So check that out next week. But this week, it's all sports. Rob, you're up. What's up first?
Okay, first thing, I want to talk about Summer League. Right now, it's looking like, I'm not sure, but the first pick in the NBA draft may not be as valuable as once thought. Because right now, we're looking at a nearly injured Ben Simmons in the first pick of the NBA draft.
Alright. I have no clue what you're talking about, Daniel? You know what he's talking about?
Yeah, man, I know he's talking about. He's the player out of LSU.
Yeah.
And
He
got injured. He got injured the other day. So people pour a ton of money into him, and he might not play the first year. He might pull a Nerlens Noel.
Okay, so he's was gonna go first in the draft, and now
He
he's
did
injured?
go first.
Oh, he
He
did
did.
already? Oh.
They play summer games. So,
That's
Yeah.
not good.
and so on top of that, it was related to cramps, apparently it was cramps, but it could be worse. We don't know yet. So yeah, that was pretty hefty, and that was a lot of money and a lot of time spent on Ben Simmons in the just scouting him and stuff.
Right.
And so that was just a year.
So who got him?
The 76ers. They had the worst record in the league.
The one I called is going to win next year?
Yeah.
That's not looking good for my pick. My pick is not looking good for next year.
Yeah, you might have to call on the Allen Iverson gods or something like that.
Alright.
I don't know. But, yeah. So then you got Jaylen Brown as well, who went to my Celtics, who I found out had an MRI exam. And he had a bruised bone on his right knee. He's expected to return soon. So these draft picks might be starting to get injured in Summer League and stuff. And I'm just wondering, should you have this many Summer League games?
Good question.
I mean, it's a good opportunity for the young players.
You gotta train them. You gotta,
Yeah.
right? I don't know.
Yeah, that's what it's about, though. It's a good opportunity for them to...
It's a big jump from going to college and going straight into the NBA.
Greatest
you
players
gotta
in the world.
practice a little bit, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you don't want to play so many games that
That you're gonna
the
get
players that are already sitting on your bench are injured,
Yeah.
You don't want to see that.
Yeah.
So, I'm just worried that, maybe you should tone it down with Summer League. Maybe make it more practice-oriented with the teams within and of itself.
They need to play a bunch of knockout and horse.
There you go.
That's a good idea.
They don't bang knees and stuff. Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, I think, So, Summer League, what do you think about that, Daniel? You think there should be more games or less? Less?
So I'm not a big fan of Summer League itself. I think the players should get on the team and they should scrimmage each other, almost like any other team, any other sport. Let them get familiar with the system. Let them get familiar with an offense and defensive scheme, and don't put them in quote unquote Summer League, but evaluate them in front of your own team, and you'll know, hey, he's better than this guy or he's better than this guy. And then instead of having a Summer League, have just a couple of preseason games, kind of like the NFL does, or just like in Major League Baseball. They have spring, have a couple of games just as warm-ups, but you've already got an idea of who your team is. The Summer League is so up in the air on who's actually going to make it. It's almost like a elongated combine.
Yeah. So it's like, who's going to be in the D-League, who's going to be in the actual NBA with all your, on the Celtics, or who's going to be on the Celtics team that they pull from, Yep. So I agree with the NFL thing I was about to say too. Maybe have a lot less games, more like the NFL does. They have that preseason, and that's about it. So
Yep.
I like that. Yeah. So my next sports thing that I had was I'm going to talk about free agency a little bit here, and I'm going to start off with the big one and then work my way kind of down. So I'm going to start off with Kevin Durant, KD coming out of Oklahoma City.
Mm-hmm.
He'd been there for many years, actually since he just started in the Supersonics, since he was the very beginning, and now he's moving on to go find greener pastures with the Golden State Warriors, and I don't think that's going to work out as good as he thinks it is. I think I said this the other day, and I'll stand by it. I could be totally wrong, but I would be surprised if the Warriors win 60 games because they don't have any interior defense. I mean, Festus Ezeli is a mess, okay? I'm just going to be honest. And then you have Harrison Barnes and Bogut, which are really two big factors of their height on defense. And Harrison Barnes didn't do much in the playoffs, but he was such a great player during the regular season. He was so important. And Bogut with his shot blocking was fantastic. A lot of people make fun of Bogut, but I think he was the biggest X factor for them because when Bogut was on defensively, I think that was a very hard team to beat. And, it was very difficult to watch them do that. And now that he's gone to the Mavericks, I don't think he's going to help the Mavericks a ton, but I think he'll be an extra little push for them, and so will Harrison Barnes. But I think when you add KD to a team, you lose some of that defense. You add a lot of shooting when you add him because your starting five all of a sudden turns into like just lasers almost with Curry and Clay, Iggy, and then you have KD and Draymond Green. But that team is just that team can all shoot from outside. I think Draymond Green is probably and KD are the only players that are really going to be consistent and efficient inside. And I think that it's going to be a really tough adjustment for them, almost like the Cavaliers had to go through for a little while with a tough adjustment. And I'm gonna say that they're gonna lose several games starting out. I think Philadelphia could have better interior defense than them. I don't see how they can win if they're off from 3-point range. I just don't see how they can consistently win ball games like that. But.
So he was on a team. So break it down because I've heard that he got moved. He is on the Warriors now. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So break it down to me. What exactly happened? Did he?
He's like
Does
he's
he have a
like
contract
Finn.
and he just
He's-
leaves?
He's like Finn. Okay,
Yeah.
He was on the Thunder. The Thunder got beat by the Warriors, and then he
Right.
decided to go to the Warriors at the end of his contract. So he was a free agent.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like Dark Side, and the Dark Side can't beat the Rebels, so he joined the Rebels.
So my question is, if he had a contract and it's over with, didn't he automatically just get a pick where he goes? So why are people freaking out about it if he wasn't like in a contract, right?
Because they would expect him because
They
Oklahoma
expect him to
City
re-up.
offered him more money than the
Oh,
Warriors did, to begin with, but it's because the Warriors are 10 times better than Oklahoma City.
Right.
This year they were, because they won. Who wins 73 games like that, and just beats out the great, quote unquote, greatest team ever, the
Right.
Jordan team, and gets that 73 win, for the most wins ever in NBA history. And I think that it really loses a lot of value whenever you look at the trade and Oklahoma City has to feel like garbage right now because they just lost their biggest piece, in my opinion, to winning ball games, which is Kevin Durant. And they also lost Serge Ibaka. They traded him, and they got in return a Victor Oladipo, which is a good trade, but at the same time, if you lose KD and Serge, you're not going to have a lot of interior defense and scoring.
So Daniel, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Rob. to me, this is one of those situations where you've got too many guys who want to shoot the ball, and so you've got to start saying, okay, KD, you're going to get this many shots a game. Well, who do you take that away from? Does it come from Curry? Does it come away from Green? Does it come away from Klay Thompson? And I think there's going to be a lot of personality battles because of that. And, those guys like to shoot the ball, and it's an even, the team that was existing prior to had a good chemistry and they gelled well. And I think this is really going to shake them up.
Yeah, and I think that you can't just throw all these really good players on a team, these all-stars, and just expect them to be great all of a sudden, because really, a lot of them don't even know each other that well when you look at it. You got Curry, who is the up-and-coming star of the NBA, the number one guy that everybody's looking at in the NBA nowadays once LeBron fades out. And then you have Klay Thompson, who's just there to basically complement Curry. Even though Klay may be a better shooter than Curry, at the end of the day, you're going to see this longer range, longer archer, just in Steph Curry that can just bang it as soon as he come across the half-court line and just boom, And so, everybody's going to want to see that guy play. You don't really want to see the guy that's just going to hit as much. Now, Curry is, I think, just as good as Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson just as good as Steph Curry. But, when it comes to... I'm afraid that this team is going to be like Draymond and KD. I feel like we'll get into it a little bit at times. I feel like they'll have arguments and butt heads a little bit whenever it comes to, for example, at the Bulls, how Jimmy Butler and Derrick Rose, they butted heads a little bit, early on, because they're both strong personalities. They both wanted to be the star of that team. They both wanted to be the leaders. And Derrick Rose didn't want to give up his seniority, his leadership to this new kid coming up, Jimmy. So Derrick ultimately decided, hey, I'm gonna go to the Knicks, and that's kind of what's leading me into my next thing, which is with the Derrick Rose Derrick Rose going to the Knicks in free agency. And I don't know what your opinion is on that, so let us know.
So to me, I think that's actually a good move. I'm totally good with that. It's all about Rose being healthy. At the end of the day, if he's not healthy, it's a big mistake for the Knicks. But I mean, I'm totally cool with that.
Yeah, I've always worried, because here's the deal: you have this player who is great when he's in there, but when he's not, it really takes this team and kind of destroys it almost, because you have a player that is in there 50% of the time and 50% of the time he's not, because he's so prone to injury. And it's like you almost worry. But I mean, the Knicks were Carmelo Anthony before Porzingis and Derrick Rose got there, and the Knicks will continue to be Carmelo Anthony until he retires, I believe. So I think that this team could potentially have a pretty good record. I think they could be a lot better than last year's team. So, I mean, yeah. I see it going pretty well for them in the future.
I'm totally with you, man. But here's my question, and I'm sure you're going to get to this next, but with Rose being gone from the Bulls, what do you think about his replacements?
I mean, yeah. You got, they traded for Rondo. They got Rondo in there. And here's the thing. They also got Dwayne Wade here of late, So that's just, when you have I'm worried about, Jimmy Butler's already shown that he wants to butt heads. He wants to be the star of that team, and he, regardless of whatever, he wants to be the star. He's going to be the guy. So I'm wondering, how do you take a veteran like Dwayne Wade and put him on a team with a young up-and-coming star in Jimmy Butler, and how do they mesh? Because they're both personalities. You can't exactly drop Jimmy to the shooting guard because he's too good at, not shooting guard, small forward. You can't exactly drop him to small forward because I don't think he's quite big enough, honestly. And Dwayne Wade, you definitely can't put him at a small forward. He's too explosive at shooting guard. And you see Rondo, you can't put him anywhere else but point guard. So it's like, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna put Dwayne Wade at point? You gonna let Rondo come off the bench? You gonna let Wade come off the bench? I mean, I wouldn't put Jimmy Butler on the bench. I think he's a good player to play throughout the game. So I mean, I don't know what you think about that. So
I mean, you can't. You trade for Rondo and you pick up Wade. You can't sit those two guys. You don't trade for them and you don't pay for them just so they can sit the bench.
yeah,
So I think Butler's going to have to either they might just play like a 3-guard offense, which you really don't see in the NBA.
yeah. That's definitely an interesting idea, But they also lost Pau Gasol, and Joakim Noah, which is a big piece of that interior. So I'm trying to figure out how are you gonna bounce back from that. What big guys are you gonna use now in that 4 and 5 spot?
That's a great question, and that's something that Chicago needs to answer.
Yeah. So that's because you had two great centers that could really come in for each other. Whoever was doing better, you play them at the center. Whoever's doing better that day, you could play at the center position, or you could almost play them at the same time at power forward and center. But it's like, do we try to trade for somebody during the season? Do we try to get like maybe a guy that's not quite as good, but we know that there's a team that could use the cap space and take some pressure off their back, like Golden State say, hey, we know Anderson Varejao. He's not great, but he's great at making hustle plays. And he'll flop and do all that stuff, but if we tell him don't flop, stay strong, do what you did when LeBron was there, just at Cleveland and it was just you and LeBron as the stars, do that. And do they try to get Varejao, or do they try to get a different center? Do you try to get Howard? What do you do in that situation? I wouldn't know if I was the Bulls. I would try to make a move for Howard, honestly, because I think.
But Howard just went to Atlanta.
I would try to, but I would if that trade hadn't went through, I would have went for Howard, because here's the deal. The fact that you traded Al Horford away to the Celtics, I don't like that for Atlanta. Like, I like that as a Celtic fan because I love the fact that Big Al just got is on the Celtics, and I like his 3-point ability. I like his ability to score from just about anywhere on the court as a 7-foot guy. That's great. But I don't think it's a good trade to get Howard in return for Al Horford. I know that's not a trade; it was a free agency deal. But at the same time, it's like you're kind of trading bulk there, for something that might work out, for something that has worked for sure in the past. And I think Atlanta will definitely be worse this year than they were last year. So
agree, man. Good points.
Yeah. So that's just my my free agency spiel so far. I'm still waiting to see if there's any more explosive things that are going to happen. Or have you heard about the KD rumor about how supposedly he's playing the Warriors or whatever until
what?
Have you heard that rumor? That's not real, but I wouldn't agree with it being real. But apparently he was like playing the Warriors, like as in, hey, I'm just going to pretend like I'm signing with you and then going to go back to Oklahoma City. I think that was just something that Oklahoma City started, or whoever it was that started that rumor, that they just wanted him to go to their team. And that's made up, but.
Or you got anything else for that?
For free agency?
Yeah, you got any other points? Anything else? You want to move on to your next topic?
I mean, I got stuff for days, man.
I mean, we can do our email question.
Yeah, let's do the email question.
Do the email question? All right.
I also have a weird sport of the week.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Why don't we do the sport of the week first? Because I don't know how long we have you. You might have to leave here soon. So.
You're right. Does anybody know what happens during 4th of July weekend at Coney Island.
No.
No,
Please,
we
please
don't.
tell
Let
me.
us know.
So every year is the Nathan's hot dog eating contest.
Oh.
Okay.
Now, when I say that, you got to know what I'm talking about, right, Josiah?
Yeah.
I know Robbie did. I heard that.
Yeah. Hey, I got hungry again.
The
So-
Nathan's hot dog.
Yeah. So you get your 10 or 12 best competitive eaters because they see themselves as athletes now.
Yeah.
Okay. And you have a certain amount of time. You have 10 minutes, okay, to eat as many hot dogs and buns as you can in that period of time. And so what a lot of guys will do is they'll dunk their hot dog and
There
their
it is.
buns
In the
in
water.
big cups of water or lemonade. Those are your two options according to the rules.
Holy crap.
Man, dude, if you can put down a slimy bun with a hot dog, I give you props. Like that's just woo.
I think you separate them. You eat the bun, dip in water, eat the bun.
Is that how they do
That's
it,
how they
or
do it, I
do they
think.
dip the full
Everybody
thing?
does it differently. So like the Japanese guy Kobayashi, he used to separate them.
Yeah.
The guy who's the current champion and who also won this weekend, Joey Chestnut, who brought it back to the United States, he does all at once.
Oh yeah.
So what's how many do they actually eat in 10 minutes?
So Joey, he set a record. Well, since you don't know, why don't you take a guess?
Okay. This is hard because I don't want to guess too much and I don't want to guess too little.
Let's just say go big or go home.
Go big.
Yeah, go big.
I mean, think realistic. I mean, well, not realistic, but just think, in terms of what could an average individual
Fit in their stomach.
Okay.
In hot dogs.
Maybe
That's
I'd say 25.
so more.
I'd say 50.
More.
Holy crap. Are you kidding me?
So Joey Chestnut took down 70 hot dogs and buns in 10
Oh
minutes.
my goodness. My next guess was like 75. I was just going to go up in
Goodness.
quarter.
The guy who came in second was behind him by 17 hot dogs.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would. Did he throw up afterwards? I would get sick.
No, not according to the MLE, which is Major League Eating. The competitive eaters or athletes are not allowed to have what's called a reversal of fortune, which is where you regurgitate,
So that's
not
the official
during
name?
the event.
That's the
That
official
is
name
the
of
official
going on.
name.
Dang.
It's called a reversal of fortune.
I have so many questions. Okay.
And
first off.
you'll like this one. There was an athlete who was kicked out of the league permanently, and that was Kobayashi because he was doping. He was taking an illegal substance.
To make him be able to eat more? I mean, that guy was skinny,
Yeah.
wasn't he? Was that the skinny guy?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. He was thin, dude.
He's that
And,
devoted to the
he
game
could
of
eat.
hot dog eating contest that he took drugs to win.
Well, it's not just hot dogs, Josiah. This is a full league, and they have different competitions around the country throughout the year. Good example, okay? The guy who came in second, his last name is Stoney, okay? He set the world record for eating Easter peeps in 5 minutes.
Peeps, dang.
That is awesome.
Okay, so you know what those are, right? How
Yeah.
many do you think he ate?
Were those the bunnies or the chicks?
Since he says peeps, I'm assuming it's the little chickens.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay,
if
okay.
the one guy ate 70 hot dogs, I mean, I'm
Let's
saying
see.
100.
I think he could eat 200.
120.
I'm going to go 200.
122. 120.
The answer is 200.
Oh!
Wow.
Got 200.
Wow.
I mean, it's amazing what some of these people can put down. According to the current MLE rankings, because there's an actual website and
There's
ranking and everything.
rankings?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Holy
And you get-
crap.
you get points for winning competitions and finishing in the top 10, things like that. So currently number one is the guy named Stoney, the guy who set the record with the peeps.
Okay.
And if you ever saw a picture of him, you would not think he's a competitive eater.
Hey,
This dude is skinny.
man, I guess they just have really high metabolisms.
I'm guessing so. But second is Joey Chestnut, the guy who won this. Third is a woman.
Dang.
Yeah, and you'll like this, and I'll finish with this. Is they all have really great nicknames. So the guy in first place is Matt the Megatoad Stoney.
That is awesome.
In second, you have Joey Jaws Chestnut. In fourth, you have Adrian the Rabbit Morgan. I mean, there's some great names in here.
Oh,
There's well, let me find where's he at. Because there's some great nicknames in here. There's Megabyte Hartman. So he throws in a little bit of tech. There's Wild Bill Myers. I mean, these guys, and they wear, like headbands and have jerseys and stuff like that.
Oh, man.
So that's the strange, weird sport of the week, and that's actually here in the United States, unfortunately. Other ones we'll cover over time are going to be in different parts of the world.
You sent me some this morning, and I was like, this is gold.
Josiah, he's like, now this is something I can get into.
I'll talk about this every week.
Yeah.
And if you're curious, the prize for winning some of these things, so for instance, Nathan's, the winner gets $40,000.
Ooh.
Wow.
That's
why it was doping. That's why.
Various competitions are between $4,000 and $20,000.
Now, is that after tax?
I'm assuming this is before tax.
Right.
Yeah.
This is America.
So,
oh, man.
so that's the fun fact of the week, guys.
Wow. Well, I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
That was fun.
That was funny.
I have so many questions that I just can't ask at this moment. There's just so many questions about their diets and their bowel movements.
And the process that they take before their competitions. Do
like
they
the day
starve
before?
themselves? Do they?
I would feel like you'd have to starve yourself. Like, I would have to be able to eat that many hot
I
dogs.
don't know. They must have a technique or something.
Believe it or not, a lot of the guys work in a process to build up to that. So they're continually stretching their stomach each week. And you know how someone has a plan to run a marathon and they'll run so many miles and then get up to
Yeah.
A lot of guys do a similar thing, and they'll start with 8 hot dogs, and then they'll work their way up to 60 plus.
Goodness. Dang.
Ugh. I just couldn't do it. I could not do it unless I was very dedicated.
So my question to you guys is, what food would you attempt being a competitive eater at?
Definitely waffles or some type of breakfast food, donut holes.
Well, I mean, your Xbox name is Waffle Man.
That is true.
But
donut holes?
I would have to think. I would have to think that bread would be kind of hard. I think what mine would be.
They dip in water.
Yeah.
What would yours be?
A hot glazed donut from Krispy Kreme. Because I feel like I could put those down consistently. I mean, if you fold them up the right way, boom, make spots in your stomach.
You could probably dip those in water, really.
I think it's already good enough because it's already warm. It's it's already ready to go down, I think I could do a hot glazed donut from Krispy Kreme, like a competition with that.
Definitely.
I think I could do that.
Maybe a pancake would be easier than a waffle now I think about it.
Or chicken wings.
Sure.
Or chicken wings. I don't know. I just love chicken wings, man. I think I could put down several.
Probably, I'd say for Rob, maybe a taco. Taco Rob over here.
Nah, man. Tacos are good for me for about 3 or 4 of them, but
Then you're done.
yeah, I could not do that competitively.
Me neither, for real. Daniel, you gotta jump off here.
I'll hang on and listen. So if I need to jump in, I will. But go ahead and grab questions.
Okay.
There you go. Okay, email questions.
All right, email question. Look it up.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, this is from Kyle at Tumbling Saber. He has a podcast, Tumbling Saber podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I listen to it every week. It's pretty good. He says, "What's your take on all these superstars in the NBA teaming up? I know it's not a new thing, but it certainly seems to be something players are more and more willing to do. Secondly, what do you think of all the retired stars who accuse guys like Durant of hopping on the bandwagon or cheating their way to a title?"
Thank you, Kyle, for addressing this. Okay, thank you. Because look, what is going on right now in the league is it really, really sucks. Because here's what's happening. For me, because I'm a competitive person. I want to see that fire. I want to see people get angry. I want to see it be like a real competition. Back in the 80s, I watched some of these games.
You watched them in the 80s?
I watched some
How
of
old
these
were you?
games went on recording.
Okay.
I watched some of these games on recording, but these are crazy, dude. How intense they get. Have you ever heard of Malice at the Palace?
No.
You've never heard of Malice at the Palace?
No, is that a guy or a game?
No. Imagine a huge stadium in Detroit.
Football or basketball?
Basketball.
Okay.
And so in closed stadium, you hear it's 10 times as loud, super loud. Everybody's vocals are bouncing off everywhere. It's
Correct.
so loud. Then you have all these players getting mad on the floor just for crazy reasons. And then all of a sudden, somebody just hauls off and punches people. Basketball players up in the fans, punching fans, pushing them over, going crazy. I mean, all these players were getting angry, trying to hold people back, and it went nuts. But see, here's the deal about the...
So you'd rather have that? People?
No, but what I'm explaining is here. I'd rather have that type of fire in an NBA game than the watered-down, washed-out league it is now. Because right now, we have all these superstars. I might as well call them stupid stars. I might as well call them that. Because here's the deal. Don't get me wrong. I love all these guys' individual play. But I wish that it was like it used to be. Magic Johnson was drafted, okay? Magic Johnson played for the Lakers, and those players got drafted and stuff, okay? And they got good by playing on that team, by playing on that same team year after year after year. They didn't just quit if they lost, okay? And I know it's been many years for Kevin Durant. Why do you think more people don't have a ton of rings? It's because you can't be just that good back then and be like, hey, I'm just going to trade to a different team to get better, because these players literally hated each other. Mm-hmm. I mean, seriously. So, like, for example, like, the rivalry between Larry Bird and Magic Johnson was real.
And Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan.
Yeah, that too. I mean, and Michael Jordan and a lot of other guys too. But and there was rivalries that it was real. They actually didn't like each other, and everybody knew it. So that was part of the cool thing to see back then, because whoever won got real bragging rights. It's not like nowadays where, oh, the Celtics beat the Lakers. That's cool. It's not like that back then. Hey, did you hear about the No, it was like, I'm going to beat you up if your team beats mine. Like, that's what it was like. It was serious. It was, like, competitive, and it was exciting. Like, it was fun to watch.
Yeah.
And that's why you can't compare teams today versus then, because of that reason.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just have those moments, which also impacts the way you look at individual players, because if the rule is you've got to have a ring, a lot of some of the great players that are in the Hall of Fame now wouldn't be in there.
Yeah, true. I mean, John Stockton's a great example of that right there. He never got a ring, but
and Malone with him.
Yeah, Malone same way. And they were two great players that never got a ring, but they stuck it out on the Jazz no matter what.
Okay, here's my thing.
Go ahead, Josiah.
I'm on the outside looking in, so stop me if I'm wrong on this. Okay, but when it comes to the Durant guy, his contract was up, correct?
Yes.
And so he was available to go be a free, whatever you call it.
Free agent and go to any team that offered him.
Now, let's look at it like this. That's how he makes money. That's his job.
Yes.
If I'm at a job and I have an opportunity to be at another job that can make me get better opportunities, I'm going to take that. I'm not going to sit here and be at my job, But I know it's a little different when it comes to basketball and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just saying, if you look at it like that, I could see why he would want to move. I mean, come on now.
But, dude,
right?
He's making less money.
But, yeah, but he's going to win. He thinks at least that he's going to win.
If he does win, he'll probably get a salary increase and get some bonuses.
So if I'm at a job, right, and I'm making this much money, and then I have an opportunity to go to another job where I make a little bit less money, but have an opportunity to be great at something or whatever.
Enjoy what you're doing.
So let me play devil's advocate with you, okay? So how much is enough money though? For us, we need a certain amount to care for our families, things like
Right.
that, because we're not rich. We're not all stars. At what point does 70 million matter compared to 80 million?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the way I see it, because I think this is a great question, and the reality is, I think it's a reflection of our society. It's very selfish, right? So back then there was a loyalty that existed, that people played for their city and people played for their teams and their teammates. But that was every sport. I mean, you think about Dan Marino. Dan Marino never won a Super Bowl, but he stayed a Dolphin forever. In pro basketball, same way like Rob talked about, same thing for baseball. I mean, in baseball, guys would play until they retired, but anymore, you buy a jersey, it's only good for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, until either your team doesn't need you anymore or another team wants you worse. That's the thing. And it's like, back Bill Russell, for example. He played for Boston. He didn't play for Bill Russell. He didn't play for the guy standing next to him. He played for the city of Boston because he loved Boston. He didn't care what kind of discrimination was going on at the time against blacks and whites. He didn't care about that kind of stuff. What he cared about was playing basketball for the city of Boston and representing himself in the way that he wanted to be represented. Okay, and he was a great overall person, and he was a great basketball player. And that's one of the reasons he won so many rings, was because he played for his city. And that just goes to show you, like, when you play with the heart and soul that Bill Russell played, I don't care how small, how tall, how strong, how big, if you play that way, then you're going to win a ring, I believe. But in situations like the Jazz with John Stockton and Karl Malone, I do believe that they were playing for their city. They were playing very hard. They were doing their best. It's not always going to work out, but a lot of the time it will.
I feel like you respect those guys more anyway for sticking it out, even though they didn't get a ring.
Yeah, that too. I mean, it's like, in the fact that they went all the way and weren't just like, well, let me join the Bulls because they beat me. It wasn't like that. It was like, hey, the Bulls are their own team, and I want to beat them next year.
And for the fans, it's just weird seeing that player in a different jersey. Josiah, it'd be no different than if someone was in one group. Let's say they were in Star Wars movies, and they switched and started showing up in Marvel movies. It's just a weird feeling.
Yeah. No, I understand that. I was just kind of playing devil's advocate to Rob and everybody else that I've heard, like, yelling about this on Twitter and stuff.
Yeah.
But, when you're that rich, and I mean, it is kind of, everybody's being selfish nowadays they just want to win,
And trust me, I would have been more than happy to see Kevin Durant join the Celtics. But the difference between him joining the Celtics and him joining the Warriors is drastic, because you see a team that, the Celtics won 48 games. They're not extremely high, like, in potential-wise to go up and win it all next year and everything. They're not way up there. But the thing is that Kevin Durant looked at who was the best team and who would he win, who would he have the highest chance of winning with. Was it the Spurs? No, because they didn't go as far as the Warriors did. So he said, hey, I'm going to go to the Warriors because I think that they're going to win a ring, and I want a ring. And I think he almost feels pressure right now to win a ring, even though he's saying over and over again it's about the players he's with. And I think part of the reason with KD also was the whole Russell Westbrook situation. I don't think he was a big fan of his own teammate, Russell Westbrook. I don't think he wanted to deal with him any longer. I think he had his type of attitude did not match KD's attitude. And I think he was honestly fed up with it. And he said over and over again, it's about the people I play with. So every time he said that, I think it was almost like a shot at Russell Westbrook now more than ever, because he joined a different team. So that's my KD spiel.
Well, you got anything else?
You got any more email questions?
No, just one this week.
Okay. Hey, what about my email question from two or 3 weeks ago?
Oh, crap. Where's it at?
He's got a scan.
Is it the one we didn't do last week?
Last time. Yes.
Yeah, last time.
We saved it?
You're a crazy kid.
Let me look at it. You don't have it, do you? I'm gonna look it up.
It was a Star Wars question, so I mean we can always wait till next week if you want.
Yes, I got it right here.
Let's
Okay.
throw it in there. A little bit of Star Wars.
You said, in honor of finding a planet like Tatooine, what Star Wars location or technology do you wish was real and why? Rob. So location or technology, like a planet or like a lightsaber or whatever, really. What do you wish
So
was
what
real?
do I wish was in this world?
Yeah.
In the Star Wars universe that was in Earth. That was on Earth. Okay, so I want to say I'm really wanting to say the Force,
Yeah.
but I'm like, nah. I
Nah.
really, cuz I want to see a freaking lightsaber, man.
Yeah,
I
that
want
would
to
be
make
nice.
my own lightsaber. You know, like have that ability to
Do you know how many people would chop their own hands off?
Oh,
Yeah.
It would not be good at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. But
I mean, little kids would see him in the grocery store and just straight through the packaging.
yeah, and that's not.
Start swinging it around.
What about a location? You got any locations? Or just give me something from the movies, and I'll tell you what location it is if you don't know the actual name of it. But
Okay, I like the planet that they went on in episode 7. What was that planet called?
Jakku.
Maybe it was Jakku. No, it wasn't Jakku. It was not the desert one, the one that they went to where
The inn.
there was a bar and
Oh,
they landed on that really green planet.
Maz's
Mosa.
castle.
Maz Castle. Yeah, I like that planet, but I
I
also
forget what the planet's called. It's,
But here's the one that I would really want to be. It's the one where all the clones were made.
Camino.
Yeah, I always thought
With
that.
the water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Camino.
I always
Episode
thought
2.
that one was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like my top and my third one that I would pick would be like the one you remember where they fought General Grievous at.
Yes. In
That one too.
Episode 3.
I like all the prequel locations. I'm big on that.
Yeah, they had good locations.
The prequels locations were so cool.
I had on my list. I had Octu, which is the planet at the end of Episode 7 when they meet Luke. They find
Yeah,
Luke.
that one too. I like that. Yeah.
And also Naboo and Coruscant.
Okay.
So those are my picks.
What is Coruscant?
That's like from the prequels with like.
What's the Jedi Temple place?
Coruscant?
Okay, yeah, I like that one. That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would probably sub that out for something.
I would say Hoth, but I don't want it. I just like. I like the planet, but I don't want to be there.
Yeah, it's like Alaska.
Antarctica.
Well, yeah, Antarctica. More like Antarctica.
Yeah. Daniel, you got something?
Well, y'all just kind of pooed on it, but I would want Hoth or Endor, because that was actually filmed in the Redwood Forest, and that just is a cool scenery, a cool area. In terms of technology, it would probably be like the ships, the ability to move really quick throughout space.
That's true. Yeah.
Hyperspace.
That's like
That'd be cool.
crazy advanced. I feel like if you could figure out how to make a Star Wars ship, you can definitely figure out how to make a lightsaber.
I mean, Millennium Falcon, anyone? I mean, come on.
Yeah, I would want the Millennium Falcon to exist.
For sure.
Or Chewie's blaster.
Yeah.
Chewie's blaster was so cool. They did a really good job with that in this movie. But
Episode 7?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
yeah.
It's a good question, Daniel. Thank you.
Thanks for finally answering it.
So what is our random topic of the week, Josiah?
I don't think we have one.
Well, I think we need to make one.
Daniel, you gotta go?
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. You got a random topic? I don't have a random topic.
I can give you all one if you want.
Is it gonna be better than competitive eating? Because
I don't know that anything's better than
it's gonna
competitive
be
eating.
hard to top.
Oh, Daniel, there's something better than competitive eating.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, we're gonna save it for next time Daniel's on. It's that good. You know
Oh,
what I'm
snap.
talking- You know what I'm talking about, right, Daniel? The thing you sent me this morning.
Did I send you? I don't know. Sorry, my daughter's talking to y'all. Are you talking about one of the ones I sent you today?
Yes, the one with the wives
Oh yeah.
I love that.
We're saving that for next week. That's
Yeah,
next
we'll
week.
save that for next
Okay.
week for sure.
So here's my the random topic of the week. Okay.
Okay.
So the Olympics are coming in August, right?
Oh.
Okay.
They just had the Olympic trials, stuff like that.
Yep.
So do you know what's going on in Rio? So Rio's where the Olympics are going to be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me if you, as an athlete, would go to Rio knowing these things. One, it's where the Zika virus started.
Correct.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So
I've
anybody-
heard about that. Like
anybody
the
who
NBA
goes-
athletes aren't going.
A lot of players aren't going so a lot of the best athletes in the world aren't going because of the potential for birth defects, because it stays in your system. And so if you and your wife plan on having kids and you get it, it stays in your system and your kid could end up with a birth defect. So you have the Zika virus. They found a super bacteria in the water.
I heard about that.
They also there's rumors that the police might go on strike during the Olympics because they're not getting paid.
Dang.
And here's the best one, okay? Where they have the beach volleyball tournament location, body parts just washed up on the beach. As an athlete, would you go?
Heck no. Heck no.
Okay.
Are people actually still going to this?
Yeah, I mean it's the Olympics, dude.
I mean, but all this stuff.
If I was 40 years old, I'd already had kids. I was an NBA player, and it was a dream of mine that I never got to accomplish, going
true.
to a USA
That's a good point.
basketball game and starting for your country. I would go.
So if you're 40, you're probably not going to make the team.
Correct.
But
But if here's the
but
thing,
I'm with
though.
you. I'm with you.
Yeah. If you're like Kobe or something, and they just want to see you for the last time. So.
I don't know. I guess it depends on the person, but I wouldn't for sure.
And then let me ask you this: whoever wins the medals, could they really say that they were the best in the world this time around?
That's true.
Because if some of the best athletes in the world aren't going, so like Jason Day's a golfer, but he's the number one golfer in the world. He's not going.
Yeah. I mean, I can see why, though, because he has trouble with, he already has some issues with, vertigo or something. I think that was him. Has vertigo issues, and I don't, if he got something in his system that was just, wrong, and, if he got off balance, I think that would be bad for him. He'd fall over and he might not be okay. They might have to fly him back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So we'll keep an eye on things over the next month or two to see who goes and who doesn't. But it'll be real interesting to see how Brazil handles it.
Yeah. That police thing is kind of that's not good.
Yeah.
If the police go on strike,
No.
yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, it'd be like The Purge.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy, man. I would not want the police to go on strike whenever your country's over there.
Yeah. Do you watch the Olympics, Rob? You usually watch it?
My mom likes to watch the Winter Olympics.
Is that the one with
ice
curling?
Scotter. I said Scotter.
Yes, it is.
skaters.
Ice curling.
Ice
the
curling.
best.
Oh, the one sport that you showed me. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. You just said I don't even know what the point of this game is, but it's a good one.
It's a good one.
You know what? Back to that first email question, Robbie. You think about it. The Olympics is where you saw the dream team. Remember? So you have
Yeah.
all the greatest players in all of the NBA. Nowadays, you have to practically beg one of the best players to even participate for their own country.
True. That's true. So, I mean, you got, it used to be, an honor. Now it's, kind of like a death sentence to go to freaking Rio. Not really, that dramatic, but, you got, you could possibly come out with a disease and not have a cure for it.
Well, even before this year, I mean, you've got players who said, no, I don't want to go because I don't want to risk getting hurt.
Right.
And so I'd rather not play for my country and play for my local team because that's who's paying me the big bucks.
Yeah.
And that's something that just didn't happen back then. I'll have to send you there's a great link to this. It was a closed practice for the Team USA where Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson were captains of each team, and they had a scrimmage against each other, and they were cursing at each other and yelling at each other, and it was so intense. and that's why we would beat teams by 70 or more
Dang.
because they were competitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another reason I think NBA basketball should get back to the way it was, because we beat teams bad. You know, I mean, we were good. We were the definitive best in the world. We still are, but we're just not as good as we used to be. But you know, that's modern day NBA.
That's life.
True.
You got anything else, Rob?
I think I'm done.
Mr. Daniel, you got anything else?
I'm on empty, fellas.
Alright, well, I guess that's all for us this week. You can follow us on Twitter at 4sportspod. Check out check out our website, 4sports.org. I just wrote a couple articles. Check it out. I guess that's it. Daniel, thanks for coming. Thanks for calling in and Skyping in and being part of the show.
Absolutely, guys. It's always fun.
All right.
yeah.
Talk to you guys next week.
Later.
See you, Taco Rob.
Taco Rob. That's the title of this episode, Taco Rob.
No problem.